Hello there! GM Lurchington here with another episode of Star Wars Showdown on Iceball Station. With me as usual are our players and their characters. The Bendu as Narset Jin.
Some blessings, friends.
Dan as Captain Warham of Ithor.
Hey.
David as Master Xavix Silverstar.
Hey.
And of course our host Kyle as Z.
Hello there.
Gentlemen, if you're ready to begin, let's roll Destiny and see if the Force is with us. One dark side. That's what you get for prepping it early, Zephyr.
Damn it. Trying to be prepared.
One more. 2 lights from Warham. Narset with the tiebreaker. 2 lights and 3 darks. All right. The Force is with us. Time to begin. As we return to our character, Xavix was just pulling up to the Hutt compound in the city by the bay here on Iceball. He'd been escorted into the city in one of the black repulsor Escalades with Junior there and had brought Stomper along. On the way, Xavix had taken the time to get to know Junior a little bit and reassure him that the cutting insults that Zeph had levied against him right before they set out from the expat club, weren't all that. And Xavix had made sure to spend that time getting to know Junior just a little bit on the way in. And you make your way out of the warm repulsor car and up the broad steps of the Hutt compound. As you enter with Junior as your escort, you're unmolested by the guards, the Gamorreans that stand here scheming in the cold air at the entrance. You go back down the winding corridor as the temperature warms and into the outer room where you see tables of factory workers and other city residents drinking and enjoying the music here in the outer room. Junior leads you through here into the second central of the 3 rooms of Vork's, pleasure rooms here in the city, where he allows the workers of his factory to come and, spend their earnings, flow them back into the coffers. The large pit set into the floor of the center room that you noticed when you were leaving the first time you were here is open, and a lot of the clientele are crowded around the rim of it. And you can hear some bestial grunts and roars from down below through the crowd there as you're brought around. There's another bar here in the center room, and Junior brings you over towards it and lets you know that he's going to go back to see Spider, and he'll be back out for you as soon as he can, basically. And if you have anything that you need to ask him before he heads back to talk to the boss, you've got a chance to do that now.
I'm over at the bar?
You're at the bar in the center room there. Yeah, the one with the pit in the middle.
No, I think what I'll do is I'll let him go over there, and then Xavix is going to kind of try to feel the situation around him. Is it kind of like tense? Like, what's everybody doing? Does anybody notice me? That kind of thing. I would like to make a check if I could.
Absolutely. You can make a... You have the sense power?
Yes.
So you can make a perception check, and you can add your force dice to the difficulty of the check. You're in a large room, so the difficulty is going to be 3 purples. And there will be... so we're talking about the right side of the sense tree, where it's like the sense of motions part, not the upgrade difficulty of incoming or outgoing attacks. It's just, you're in a large room, so it's going to be 3 purples and a setback because everybody is really riled up in here, about this and that. But you're going to use your perception with your force die so that you can use the telepathy part or the empathy part of the sense power with your force pips from that.
Question, where is Stomper in all this? Did he accompany Xavix, or is he back at the speeder still?
I'm assuming that he has come in, unless he decided not to.
That's fine.
They didn't stop Stomper from accompanying. I mean, it's like it's a droid, and people don't think two.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like nobody
Right.
suspects a droid.
And it was
Until
two purples, right?
It's 3 purples because there's so much going on in here. Putting in a bunch of these.
Big fat failure.
Okay, so you can tell that everybody is real. Generally, most of the people in here are really, really excited about whatever's going on down there in the pit. That's why there's like such a crowd around it of this, a press of bodies of workers from the factory who are all crowded 3 deep around this pit in the center of the floor so that they can watch the battle that is going on down in the center of it, but you can't perceive what's going on. You don't know if it's gladiators, you don't know if somebody got dropped, by Spider or what's going on.
It sounds like a good time.
There are more workers crowded at the bar around you, and even with a failure on the check, you can see that most of the people in here are dressed like they're workers from the factory who just live in the city here, and you don't pick out anyone in particular who stands out because you didn't succeed on your check that way. Junior has headed back this way towards Spider's lair.
Okay, I think Xavix will walk towards the pit to get a better look.
Absolutely. You make your way into the crowd and approach, and you see that the pit goes down a story and a half, and at the bottom there is a wet, what must be frigid cold water down there among rocks, and there is another Gagoran, like some of the workers down there, with a vibro axe, and he's squared off of what's got to be an 800-pound juvenile Ravnak, sort of similar to the ones that Narset has been dealing with over on the other side of the island. They don't have a full adult one, or maybe they do, but that's not, that's only for special occasions. But he's fighting a juvenile Ravnak that's got to be 800 pounds.
Damn.
If it's, any. As a Gagoran, he's definitely, still not in its weight class, but he looks like he's got the reach that, he's able to stand this thing off, and, he's faring pretty well. The crowd around you is loving it. You watch that for a while. He's pretty mobile. The thing doesn't have enough water to really get mobile, and it's coming around him on the rocks, but he jumps up onto a bit of a taller precipice here and is able to make a leap and bring the vibro axe down into the shoulder of the huge walrus creature, and it lets out an enormous roar, and then you feel somebody tugging on your sleeve there, and you turn and you see that Junior has come back, and he leads you back into the winding passages to the right of Vork's dais there, back into all of the offices and workrooms and kitchens and supply rooms that make up sort of the working area of the compound here. And you're brought back to the office where you met Spider the first time. It's a long, sort of narrow room, and there are a couple of potted trees that have grown tall enough that they're reaching up and spreading across the ceiling. And as you look up, you can see movement in the branches up there. There are even some leaves that have fallen down onto the carpet that Junior is sort of trying to step around and not crunch underfoot as he brings you in. What's Stomper getting up to before Xavix gets into here? Does he go back with him, or is he trying to get himself set up out here in the outer bar, Kyle?
I think Stomper will just sort of waddle off to one side, get out of Xavix's way, but not necessarily follow him all the way to that lair. I think he's still just sort of, propped up against... He's just taking up some space in the main bar area. I think he seems curious. Yeah, Stomper's curious in the fight that's going on with the Ravnak down in the pit, so he's just observing that.
Excellent. Okay, Stomper wakes his way over to a spot where he can get a vantage point, up a little higher, that he can look down over the heads, over by the stage, where there's a bit of stairs up to the back of the stage there, to the other side of the dais. He can get his eyes down on the pit. And we'll get back to him then after Xavix's meeting has begun. I just wanted to know where he was, if he came back with Xavix, or if he tried to sneak off into like the other offices. Now would be the time to,
Right. He's currently just hanging back, watching the pit with the rest of the crowd.
Okay, he's actually out in the bar then. Okay, fair enough. Spider is here in his office waiting for you, Xavix, as you come in. He is working at his terminal, but gestures for you to sit and looks up before you come all the way across the room to greet you properly.
Master Silverstar, welcome back. Thank you for answering my summon. I've spoken to Vaughn, and I'm eager to begin our negotiations.
I'd say I would be too. I'm glad you'd have me here, and it was an interesting thing going on out there.
He says,
We like to amuse the worker. That's one of the reasons why Vork was excited about your proposition. We haven't much in the way of games here on our little Iceball, and a race is a grand amusement.
Yes, it should be something quite amazing, actually. It's why I'm here today.
I know. How does your planning go? Is everything prepared on your end?
Pretty much everything is prepared. We have a few things that we need to do, and I was thinking that we could help each other in the same manner, especially like getting a speaker.
right, like an announcer and maybe getting it broadcast and stuff like that,
A commentator.
Commentator. But also I wanted to kind of express to them that I want to work on getting the advertisement for this out and getting more viewers across the galaxy.
All right, excellent. So why don't you start off with a negotiation check with Spider, just to see how much, back and forth, how much they're willing to be putting into this, besides you want to put on a race and they're willing to have somebody fly in the race, but now you're listen, we need your assistance with actually getting this thing up off the ground. The difficulty of a negotiation check against a Hutt Major Domo is 2 reds and a purple.
Can I get a boost because this is a profitable thing? We're not trying to negatively negotiate something.
Absolutely.
We're bringing an idea rather than a no, I don't like what you're doing.
It's a proposal.
Certainly.
Proposal, yeah.
Yeah, so you can get a boost for that. He's already said that this is the kind of thing that they're looking for, As you came in, they were already putting on a contest for workers to watch.
Okay.
But he's a very canny negotiator, so he's not going to give up a lot.
Oof.
Right, you put forth your proposal and you're how much, are you willing to help us? And he goes,
No. Vork is willing to sanction your event, and he is excited to be here when it commences. However, this is an event the Expat Club will be putting on, unless, of course, you would like to pass it over to us in time.
and he folds all 6 of his arms in front of himself on the table.
Well, I guess I appreciate you taking the time to listen to the proposal, but no, I think I'll continue working on it. But I appreciate the sanctions. When should we expect Fork to show up?
That you're going to have to make a check to get that information out of. You can use whichever of your social skills you want to try to.
I think this is more of a force thing. Let's see if I can use sense on somebody again.
How many upgrades do you have on it? Can you sense thoughts yet, or can you just get the emotional state of someone that you're near? You have to look at how much of the sense tree you've purchased into. Because the basic level just lets you get the emotions of someone that you're engaged with, and then you have to buy down into it in order to actually sense their thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have that upgrade.
Okay.
It's minimal, so okay, I won't be.
I mean, you can still add, if you want to do a perception on him, to try to get his, thoughts and feelings about it before you make your check, you can do that. You know what I mean? Well, you won't get his thoughts, but, if you want to try to get a sense of his feelings and make a sense check before you go for your next social check, it might generate some boosts for you.
Ooh, okay.
If you roll advantages, those turn into blue dice, right? So
Let's
you
give it a
can
shot.
try to get a read on him to give you, because you're in here solo. You don't have like every other negotiation we've done so far. Like there's been a war room to like bounce off of for Zeef a lot of the time, but you're in here solo.
Solo.
Definitely need that.
The good cop. So you have hold on. You only have one failure, but you can turn your 2 light side pips into successes, and then that would become a success. But you wouldn't have any advantages, so you would just successfully be able to get his like feelings, or you can just sort of like cancel. You know what I mean? So you like go for the lean in, and you try to really get a look on him, but he's a spider. And he's just like, I'm a spider. And he like, first he does this with his top set of hands, then he does it with the middle set of hands, then he does it with the bottom set of hands, and he keeps and then he looks at you, and he's like, exactly. And you're just like, right, okay, he's right, he's a spider.
Fair enough. Let's do this check, and let's find out when he's coming in, because then we can plan the raid.
Yeah.
Skeletons on the outside.
Roll.
Because you told the remnant that you would have this race going on in like 3 days' time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And what's the difficulty?
What check is it?
I'm doing a negotiations check.
You're doing a negotiation again, then it's going to be 2 reds and a purple again.
2 reds and a purple. Okay.
He's actually easier to negotiate against than if you use like charm or deception or anything like that. He gets like automatic upgrade the difficulty beyond what it already is to people who are trying to like schmooze. He's nobody's fool. But in this case, you're like, all right, but if I want to time this race to when Vork is going to be here, we need some kind of timeline on Vork's return. And Spider goes,
understandable. Until recently, the Master's return was indeterminate. However, I've just heard word that he's begun the journey back from Mount Hutt. He should be here in 3 days' time.
3 days is enough time.
He goes,
actually, no. Timing the race to his return would be quite beneficial. Yes.
He sits back and puts just his upper arms on the desk. A young spider, large enough to have an abdomen the size of a medicine ball, climbs down the tree at the back of the office and up onto the back of his chair and down into his lap. And 2 of his arms come up to begin petting it as he goes back to work on his terminal with his left side hands.
His friend.
It's not a harch, right? It's like a different. It's like a pet.
No. This is like a baby Y-Shock or something like that.
That's like that's like a human having a monkey pet. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Well, or a Gungan with a frog.
Yeah.
Or Goofy with Pluto.
You know? Yeah. Right. Goofy hangs out with Pluto, and that's not odd.
Well,
so,
that's.
You know?
I think there's some kink involved there that we just don't want to dig up.
Yeah, that is true. Is there more you want Xavix to get out of Spider? Because otherwise, I'm gonna put it on Stomper and let him try to get up to some shenanigans before you head back out to the outer, bar.
I think we've talked a lot about business and a lot about this whole thing. After he gets it to me, I definitely want to maybe try to work a relationship and see about what they know. Maybe, I mean, they're kind of trying to recruit Zeef.
Yeah.
Maybe they would like to offer me something that I can try to work that angle as well.
Yeah, okay. You can try that if you want to put that
Just
forward.
want to recruit a Jedi?
I mean?
Yeah.
No, not recruit a Jedi.
He's trying, right? He's not trying to be open about that. Yeah. You can let him know that you've been working,
Maybe
Are
he
we back?
recognizes Stomper.
He didn't come back. He didn't come all the way in with you, but I mean, you can let him know. Junior's been keeping him up, up on things too. So, so he's after you finish, with the business. His left hand has already gone back to work. He's petting his, pet cat, with the other one. but he looks like he's willing to continue talking for a little longer. He's got 6 arms, and he appears to already have 2 of them back to business.
I've
He
got
says
1/6 or 1/3 of his attention.
exactly. He goes,
Anything more, he'd want to eat you.
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear
Got a
that.
pod
Fast
racer
and-
out.
Good. Yeah.
There's
Fast
a
and Furious
pod race.
outside. Jesus.
Man, the street racers are back. I can't do
Um,
anything about it. The windows are closed right now.
Yeah, man.
We need
Reese was
them
posting
2
about them
sessions.
on Instagram the other day. They were like filling up the block in front of your place.
Yeah.
Tell them
It's
that we
stupid.
need them for the night of the race, but they can chill out until then. You know what I mean?
Oh god, there's so many of them.
Well, there we go. We'll be fine then.
Oh, that's okay because I'll be off and I can mute myself. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I already rolled that stuff. Should I try one more roll just in case?
Yeah, go for it. If you want to try a charm check, it's going to be hard, but like I don't know
Can't
what your
hurt.
charm pool is like or anything like that.
Can't hurt unless
You know
you
what
get
I
like a
mean? But,
despair and 3 threat.
Well, the difficulty is 3 reds to try to charm him, so the odds
okay.
of a despair are
Well, wait.
as
I can
bad as
remove
they
one setback now from all kindness and charm leadership checks for Sage. It's only level 1.
yeah, they're not setbacks. He's got 3 red dice.
Yeah.
for the
No, I'll try
difficulty to
negotiation
to
one
charm.
more time.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. You say, I understand that your boy Junior has been trying to talk to, Zeef out there in Fishtown unsuccessfully. Well, I won't put the words in your mouth. You tell me
Yeah.
what Xavix says.
Let's see how it goes.
So you're gonna take 3 threat because the spider is fucking. He's got a giant. What is already a very large spider, which is only a very small version of what is an even huger spider now in his lap, and he's already an enormous spider man. So you're gonna take 3 strain from having had to be in this you don't know. There could be one right behind you on the back of your chair as we speak, ready to reach over and climb onto your face.
Could
You know what I mean?
Could I use a discipline check to kind of curtail that fear?
If you want to make a fear check and try to bolster yourself, that's fine. But I don't think you can get benefits. Sure, if you roll advantages, you'll get benefits. But if you fail, then it'll add some setbacks. Absolutely.
This is a man who
it'll
rolled
be-
cool after he got shot just to make sure he didn't flinch.
Right. Okay, yeah, you're right. It's going to be a discipline check. It's not a life-threatening situation.
Well
But
said.
I would say
Damn.
it'll be 3 purples
3
because
purple.
there's a spider. There could potentially be a spider the size of your torso, half a foot above your head. On an invisible silken thread,
But I'm a Jedi
ready to
master.
face hug
I
you.
need to keep my cool.
Absolutely.
Let's
So,
do this. Booyah.
Nice.
so you can turn those 3 advantages into 2 boost dice for your next roll there. As you're like, yeah, gross spiders, whatever. You take the strain, but then you shake it off. You're like, you know what? These spiders aren't even that big, anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Not even that.
these are babies. These are juvenile.
I eat spiders bigger than that for breakfast.
Yeah. Well, Spider, I'm glad that we can continue to working together. I'll be glad to set up the race in 3 days for Vork's arrival. I'll make sure that he has a suite available to him that gets a good seat in the race.
He brings a claw up and he goes.
From the expat club, indeed.
He goes.
Kolvar has been quite resistant to our entreaties to join him in his little domain. Hear this.
Nice. Making inroads.
I smile and nod, and then I walk out coolly and confidently.
All right, excellent.
The
You
Xavix strut. The Silverstar
you
strut.
find Junior waiting for you
Xavix strut. Better.
outside in the corridor to bring you back out to the outer bar areas from the staff zone of Vork's palace here. What's Stomper been getting up to? The Gagoran did in fact end up finishing off the Ravnak, but it got a pretty juicy bite into one of the Gregorian's legs before it all wrapped up. Two other of the shaggy, white-furred fellows have helped him up out of the pit, and he is being served massive quantities of drink over at the bar, is what Stomper has observed. Has he tried to, get in anywhere,
Yeah.
get behind any locked doors or into places he shouldn't be?
So Stomper had a legitimate interest in the fight, and so he watched the fight until it was obvious that the Gregorian won, at which time he started waddling over in the direction that Xavix had followed Junior.
Okay.
But instead of going all the way into Spider's lair, he kind of waddles down the hall to the right a little bit. I don't know, let's say he waddles into the comms center that's down there.
Absolutely. He's a gonk. Nobody really pays too much
Gonk, gonk, don't mind
attention
me.
to a gonk. Exactly. What's he going to try to do once he gets back there? You've got some slicing to do, perhaps?
Well, first I would like him to roll just to make sure the coast is clear.
Okay.
And then he's gonna scomp into the nearest terminal and just start nosing around.
All right, it's going to be a stealth check
All right.
for him. The difficulty, because he's just a gonk, is going to be 1 red die.
Okay.
He's now a random gong looking inside a computer.
And I'm gonna go ahead and assume my stealth is GGG for Stomper.
It's going to be whatever his stealth is based on agility, so it's going to be greens equal to his agility.
Okay, so 1G.
Yep.
Makes sense.
He's a
Fucking-
gonk droid.
So 1G versus 1 red.
You can get a boost because he's just a gonk droid.
Okay. Boost for being mundane.
A red and not a purple
For
because it
cuteness.
could go disastrously wrong.
Sure.
He could gonk his way into Junior, who immediately recognizes him.
Well, that's true. He does have a fucking name tag and Norabesh across the front of his chassis.
Right?
So.
He's known by at least
right there.
some of these guys. Right? At
Right.
least some of these guys know exactly who he is.
All right, rolling. Let's see.
What do we got, Katarn?
Ooh.
So the coast is not clear, and Stomper can see that there are a number of beings around, but advantageously, he is able to avoid them. He makes his way back to the occupied communications center, but he sees that there are a number of different beings already
Right,
at work
right.
back here.
Okay.
So it doesn't look like he's going to be able to just waddle in and do what he wants without, somebody at least coming over and,
I am going to
checking up on him.
spend a destiny point to have something just, in the line of something mundane come up that then takes their attention. Like they all get called to a meeting, or like there's a shift change or something, and suddenly they file out of the room.
A guy from the security room, the next door over, tells him that the fight is just about to wrap up, and they all head over so that they can watch one of the security cameras watch the end of the fight in the pit. And they head out of there, but you're going to have to still slice in
Right.
here if you're going to try to...
Which
what are you
is-
looking for? Also, it's going to be a computers check.
Stomper is gonna scomp into the main comms terminal, looking for anything tagged to do with Zeef's case, anything to do with the Carcaro brothers, anything to do with the process, the spice shipments, what intel they have on the investigation that they may have been doing on their own. Just basically everything that they have that's relevant in any way to what Zeef's working on right now.
Absolutely. Okay, so the difficulty is going to be 3 purples
Okay.
and a setback from the security setup on it. Like, these guys have to put in passwords and stuff, and it's generally the work back here is actually done on the terminals by beings. Like, they're not expecting a droid to come over and scomp in to use this system, so there's a setback there
Right.
as well.
All right.
Stomper's not set up for slicing at the moment, so he doesn't have any talents that remove that kind of stuff.
Right,
But
but he
you can
does
definitely
have two.
pick that kind of stuff up for
He
him.
does have 2 yellows, which is a respectable
Definitely.
dice pool. So here we go. Ugh.
So, advantageously, nobody comes in and finds him, but Stomper is not able to slice in. There are no threat. He doesn't trip any security alarms. That comes from generating threat on these kind of rolls, but he is 5 failures worth of unable to scomp it. And he rolls over and plugs his scomp link into a power cord instead. But because he is a power droid, he's able to shunt off the charge, and he doesn't get fried like an R2 unit might. But he's like, oh, yeah, no, I can't scomp into any of this. And he is going to have to waddle his way back out of here quite unsuccessfully.
Empty-handed.
Xavix, you meet up with Stomper coming from a direction that you didn't leave him in on your way back out to the main area where the pit is. Stomper waits in the shadows until Junior has already passed before joining you, because he is a canny little droid, and he follows up there at your heel once you return into the main bar. Junior asks if you want to head back to Fishtown right away or not, and indicates like a group of other Aquash and says, because if not, I'm going to go say hey to the boys for a little while, you know?
I'd definitely tell Junior and say, hey, I appreciate you getting me up here and kind of getting me through hassle-free. I think we'll head back if we can now.
He gives a longing look to his group of fellow under-capos who are crowded into a booth across the bar and like raises a hand towards them, but then turns and leads you back out through the outer room and the winding corridor into the cold Iceball air, and you guys get back into the repulsor Escalade for the trip back into Fishtown. All right, with that, the camera pulls away from you, Xavix. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back in with the next scene.